Our story kicks off in an upscale Long Island neighborhood where our protagonist, Millie, pulls up to a jaw-dropping mansion for a job interview. She meets the homeowner, Nina, who's totally blown away by Millie's resume. Nina actually worries that Millie's college degree makes her a bit overqualified for a live-in maid position, which involves cooking, cleaning, and taking care of their kid. During a quick tour of the massive estate, Nina drops a secret. She's pregnant, but she begs Millie to keep it under wraps for now. Even though Nina is still fielding other candidates, she hands Millie some cash for gas and admits she has a really good gut feeling about her. As Millie drives away, however, she's convinced she blew it. Why? Because her entire resume is completely fabricated. Even the glasses on her face are a prop to make her look smart. In reality, Millie is broke, living out of her car and relying on dingy gas station bathrooms just to freshen up. The very next morning, a cop taps on her car window, catching her sleeping. Thinking on her feet, Millie spins a lie about taking a quick nap after caring for her sick, elderly mother just to avoid getting a ticket. Right then, her phone rings. It's Nina, officially offering her the job. Millie wastes no time and speeds right back to the wealthy estate. She's greeted at the gate by Enzo, the quiet groundskeeper. But when she steps inside the house, it's a total disaster zone. Every room is trashed, and the front door was left wide open. Nina runs up to hug her new maid and notices Millie only brought 2 small bags. Covering her tracks, Millie lies and says the rest of her belongings are in a storage unit. Nina then casually mentions she needs to lock herself in her office to write a PTA speech, leaving Millie to clean up the massive mess. Fast forward to the evening, and Millie has the place looking absolutely flawless. Nina's husband, Andrew, walks in with their daughter, Cece. Andrew is completely caught off guard by the new hire since his wife never bothered to tell him, but he plays the nice guy and warmly welcomes Millie to their home. Later that night, Millie heads up to her new bedroom in the attic to get comfortable, but she quickly spots some massive red flags. The door doesn't have a keyhole on the inside, and the tiny window is painted shut. When Nina drops off some dinner, Millie politely asks if the window can be fixed, and Nina promises to have a handyman look at it. Millie also requests a key to the deadbolt, which Nina agrees to, casually mentioning the room used to be a storage closet for Andrew's work files. To sweeten the deal, Nina hands Millie a brand new smartphone preloaded with the family's credit card info for grocery shopping. But the next morning, things get creepy. Millie tries to leave her room only to realize the door is jammed. It takes a massive amount of pulling before she finally breaks free. Once downstairs, she walks into pure chaos. Nina is having an absolute meltdown in the kitchen, chucking things everywhere and screaming about her missing speech notes. When Andrew rushes in, Nina instantly points the finger at Millie, accusing her of stealing them. The tantrum gets so bad that Andrew literally has to pick his wife up to calm her down.
He tells her to go take a hot shower and rewrite the speech. Before storming off, Nina snaps at Millie for ruining her day, and Millie just swallows her pride and apologizes to keep the peace. Once they're alone, Andrew apologizes for his wife's psychotic behavior, claiming she's just been off lately. Meanwhile, outside the window, Enzo, the groundskeeper, is quietly watching the whole scene unfold. While Millie is taking out the trash later on, Enzo approaches her and bluntly asks why she took this job. She tries to explain, but Enzo clearly wants to warn her about something. Unfortunately, he spots Nina glaring at them from a window and quickly retreats. The weirdness continues when Millie is scrubbing a toilet and finds a strange, undissolved pill floating in the water. Nina sneaks up behind her, ranting about how she never fits in with the snobby rich moms at school and complaining about her stress levels. Millie tries to play therapist, suggesting it's just pregnancy hormones, but this only annoys Nina, who abruptly orders her to go make dinner. Dinner is just as toxic. Cece, the daughter, treats Millie like garbage, demanding she re-wash a perfectly clean glass. Andrew tries to be inclusive and invites Millie to sit with them, but she awkwardly declines and retreats to her attic room. Bored, she starts stalking the family on social media and catches herself feeling surprisingly attracted to Andrew. Suddenly, he walks into her room holding a cupcake, and out of nowhere, he leans in and kisses her. But plot twist, Millie suddenly jolts awake. It was just a steamy dream, leaving her totally freaked out by her own subconscious desires. When Saturday rolls around, Nina finally gives Millie a key to her attic room. Since it's her day off, Millie tries to head out, but Nina goes full tyrant and demands she stay. The two get into a heated shouting match until Andrew steps in, overriding his wife and letting Millie leave. We then find out where Millie was in such a rush to go: the Department of Social Services. Turns out our protagonist is an ex-con on parole, and these check-ins are legally required. She updates her parole officer with her new address and hands over a diary where she logs all her activities. The counselor gives her a stern warning: do not lose this job, or she's going straight back to prison to serve the remaining 5 years of her sentence. Walking out of the office, Millie gets a frantic call from Nina, ordering her to pick Cece up from ballet class, but Nina hangs up before giving the address. Panicking, Millie frantically searches Google and speeds to the studio, barely making it. But when she arrives, another mom informs her that Cece was actually scheduled for a sleepover at her house. Confused, Millie explains that Nina sent her. The other mom calls Nina, who acts completely clueless, confirming the sleepover and making Millie look like a disorganized idiot. Back at the mansion, Nina rips into Millie for causing drama at the studio, totally gaslighting her into believing they had discussed the sleepover. To make matters worse, Andrew's snobby mother Evelyn stops by for a visit. She immediately critiques Millie's outfit and hands over a box of antique ceramic dishes, boasting about how they're priceless family heirlooms.
Unable to sleep that night, Millie creeps downstairs to watch some TV. Andrew suddenly walks in, and while Millie tries to apologize, he tells her to relax and sits next to her. They share a deep conversation about family, with Millie admitting she's estranged from hers. Andrew comforts her, casually resting his hand on her leg. He then drops a massive lore drop. Nina's parents died in a suspicious house fire when she was younger, and the cops actually suspected Nina was the arsonist. Right at that intimate moment, Nina storms into the room. She immediately orders Andrew to bed, then turns to Millie and fires her on the spot for trying to seduce her husband. Desperate not to go back to jail, Millie begs for her job. Nina coldly agrees to a 1-week probation period, demanding she dress more conservatively and stay 10 feet away from Andrew. The very next day, Nina hosts a fancy tea party for her wealthy friends, announcing she's visiting a fertility clinic in the city to have another baby. When Nina steps out to take a phone call, the facade drops. Millie overhears the friends brutally gossiping about Nina. They joke that they already thought she was pregnant because she looks so unkempt, and they all agree Andrew is way out of her league. They also spill that Andrew made her sign an ironclad prenup because she was broke before they met, and that Nina previously spent 9 months locked inside a psychiatric ward. The second Nina walks back in, the room goes dead silent. That evening, Millie vents in her diary, realizing Nina lied about the pregnancy and feeling immense sympathy for Andrew. She vows to quit the second she saves up enough cash. Out of nowhere, Nina barges in, demanding Millie cancel her weekend plans to babysit Cece so she and Andrew can attend a crucial appointment. When Saturday hits and the couple leaves, Millie goes snooping. She digs through Nina's bathroom cabinets, finds her prescription meds, and Googles the name. Her blood runs cold when the results show it's heavy medication for severe psychosis. Genuinely terrified, Millie calls a friend begging for a lead on a new job. Little Cece overhears the call and asks if she's quitting, but Millie quickly covers it up. Later on, Millie catches Cece playing with a troll doll that belongs to Millie, leading to a scolding. When Millie warns the brat to stay out of the attic, Cece eerily replies that Millie should do the exact same thing. Suddenly, downstairs, doors slam and the parents start screaming at each other. Nina runs down the hallway sobbing, while Andrew pulls Millie aside for a private chat. He drops a bombshell. Cece suffers from a rare ovarian condition, meaning the couple has been struggling with infertility for years. Furthermore, Cece isn't even Andrew's biological kid. She's from Nina's past relationship. In the dead of night, Millie is jolted awake by the sounds of shattering glass and intense screaming. She runs downstairs to find the couple having a massive domestic dispute. When she knocks on their bedroom door, Nina swings it open, grinning like a maniac, holding a bloody shard of mirror glass in her hand. Millie looks past her to ask Andrew if he's okay, but Nina just laughs, mocking Millie for finally figuring out she's insane. Andrew quietly takes the bloody glass from his wife and shuts the door in Millie's face.
The following morning, Nina switches personalities again. She apologizes for faking the pregnancy, claims she wants to turn over a new leaf, and even gifts Millie a bunch of her old designer clothes. To make peace with Andrew, Nina asks Millie to book expensive theater tickets and a fancy restaurant reservation, promising Millie the day off since Cece will be at a friend's. Later, during a ballet drop-off, another nanny spills the darkest tea yet. Nina was thrown into the psych ward because she tried to drown little Cece in a bathtub, followed by a severe self-deletion attempt. Horrified, Millie heads back to the mansion and approaches Enzo, begging for the truth. Enzo simply warns her to pack her bags and run. Nina suddenly appears, cutting the conversation short and forbidding Millie from speaking to the groundskeeper. Changing the subject, Nina asks about the envelope containing the theater tickets. Millie hands them over, but Nina instantly plays dumb, claiming she never asked for them and that she and Cece are actually traveling to Washington, D.C. for the weekend. Since the luxury tickets are non-refundable, Nina viciously declares she's deducting the cost from Millie's paycheck. As they argue, Andrew walks in and plays the ultimate white knight. He tells Millie not to worry, promising he will personally call the credit card company to dispute the charges. When Saturday arrives, Andrew catches Millie stepping out of the bathroom wearing nothing but a towel. After she quickly gets dressed, he approaches her with an apology, explaining the tickets couldn't be refunded after all, and he wants her to use them. Millie admits she has no one to go with, prompting Andrew to suggest they go together. Dressed up in one of Nina's gifted outfits, Millie hits the town with Andrew. They have an incredible time at the musical and end up using the dinner reservations too. Over drinks, Andrew drops his guard, confessing his marriage is an absolute nightmare, before pulling Millie onto the dance floor. Intoxicated and vibing, they realize they are too far from home to drive, so they book rooms at a nearby hotel. Once alone in her room, Millie checks her phone and panics. She has dozens of unhinged texts from Nina, culminating in a message officially firing her. Terrified of violating her parole, Millie runs to Andrew's room for help. He smooths things over, promising he won't let her lose her job, before pulling her in for a passionate kiss. One thing leads to another, and they spend the night together. The next morning, they vowed to keep their hookup a total secret, but the second they walk through the front door of the mansion, they start making out again. Right on cue, Nina walks in. Surprisingly, she ignores the tension, apologizes for her angry texts, and casually mentions the decade Millie spent locked up in prison for murder. Andrew looks completely stunned but stays quiet. Nina then orders Millie to go grocery shopping, specifically demanding she drive Nina's luxury car because Millie's beat-up vehicle makes the house look trashy. At the supermarket, another nanny approaches Millie, calling her incredibly brave for using a phone provided by her employers, noting that rich bosses always use them to track their staff. It hits Millie like a ton of bricks. Nina tracked her GPS. She knows about the hotel. She knows about the affair. As Millie loads groceries into the trunk, police cruisers suddenly swarm the parking lot. They slap cuffs on her, revealing the car she's driving was reported stolen.
Just as she's about to be hauled off to jail, Andrew pulls up and smooths things out with the cops. On the ride back, Millie tearfully apologizes for hiding her criminal record, but Andrew plays the perfect understanding guy, claiming he doesn't care. When they get back to the house, Nina goes full supervillain. She admits she knows about the cheating and threatens to call the cops to claim Millie stole her designer dresses. This is the breaking point for Andrew. He completely snaps, screaming at Nina and kicking her out of the house. When Millie offers to help pack, Nina slaps her across the face, hurls insults, and speeds off in her car. She pulls over a few blocks away, screaming and crying her eyes out. Back at the house, Andrew gently ice packs Millie's bruised face, whispering that she is going to be the new lady of the manor. For the next few days, it's a honeymoon phase. Andrew and Millie are inseparable, living it up and sleeping together constantly. But the illusion shatters one morning. While serving breakfast on Evelyn's precious antique china, Millie gets jump-scared by Enzo staring at her through the kitchen window. She drops the plate, shattering it into pieces. Andrew comes running, and when he hears Enzo caused it, he immediately goes outside and fires the groundskeeper. Coming back in, Andrew coldly orders Millie to gather the broken ceramic pieces in a bag, claiming he knows a guy who can fix them. But when she hands him the bag, his tone shifts to terrifyingly strict, scolding her for not washing the broken shards first. Ignoring her confusion, Andrew leads Millie up to the attic to drink and hook up. Sometime later, Millie wakes up completely alone.
She walks over to the door and tries the handle. It's locked from the outside. Through the heavy wood, Andrew's voice calmly informs her that she isn't allowed to leave yet. Meanwhile, we cut back to Nina in her car. Her crying suddenly turns into a massive, triumphant smile. She drives to a luxury hotel, pours a drink, and celebrates her absolute freedom. Pulling out a photo of Andrew, she sets it on fire. Then she grabs a pen and begins writing a letter to Cece, revealing the entire truth. Here is the massive plot twist. Nina never started the fire that killed her parents. The trauma just pushed her into the foster system. She fought hard, got a law school scholarship, but got pregnant by a married professor who abandoned her. Working as a single mom at a law firm, she met Andrew. He seemed perfect, and they rushed into marriage within 6 weeks, moving into a house Andrew specifically designed for his ex-fiancée, a massive red flag she ignored. Andrew was a total control freak. He forced her to dye her hair blonde and obsessed over her dark roots. One day, busy with Cece, Nina missed a salon appointment. Seeing her roots, Andrew tricked her into going to the attic for some files. While she was looking, he slammed the door and locked it.
He slid an envelope under the crack, ordering her to pluck exactly 100 hairs from her head by the root. If even one strand was missing a follicle, she'd have to start over. Refusing at first, Nina pounded on the reinforced window and door, but with no food, only water, and a bucket for a toilet. Starvation broke her. She painfully ripped out her own hair, only for Andrew to reject the first batch over a single broken strand. After enduring the torture a second time, Andrew finally unlocked the door, forcing her to chug a bottle of water while gaslighting her into thinking it was for her own good. Desperate to see her child, Nina ran downstairs, but the water was drugged. She passed out, waking up to find little Cece practically drowning in the bathtub. As she frantically pulled her kid out, the cops burst in. Andrew had framed her. He played the weeping father while secretly loving every second of her arrest. Nina was locked in a psychiatric ward for 9 months. Every time she told doctors the truth about the attic, she sounded crazy, and Andrew had scrubbed the evidence anyway. Realizing the game, Nina confessed to the fake crime, proving she was cured and was allowed to go home. For years, she played the submissive, broken wife. To protect herself from having his child, she secretly got an IUD and bribed a doctor to declare her infertile. Every time she stepped out of line, Andrew locked her in the attic. Enzo, the groundskeeper, knew the truth because Andrew had done the exact same thing to Enzo's sister. Enzo tried to help Nina escape once, but Andrew caught them, resulting in Nina's second stint in the psych ward. When she got out, Enzo offered to help again, but Nina had her own master plan. She specifically hunted for a blonde, desperate maid with a criminal record, hoping Andrew would take the bait. When she discovered Millie was a convicted murderer, Nina altered her plan, hiding a deadly cheese knife in the attic for Millie to find. Back in the present, Nina picks up Cece from school, ready to disappear. Cece innocently asks if Millie is coming with them. Back at the mansion, the nightmare continues. Andrew slides a jagged piece of broken antique china under the attic door, ordering Millie to cut her own stomach as punishment for breaking the plate. If she doesn't cut deep enough, she has to start over. Trapped and terrified, Millie flashes back to her high school years. We learn the truth about her murder conviction. She walked into her dorm to find a wealthy, privileged classmate physically assaulting her roommate. In a blind rage, Millie grabbed a heavy object and beat the attacker to death to save her friend. Because the boy's family had power, it was swept under the rug as murder instead of self-defense. Snapping back to reality, Millie searches the attic and finds Nina's hidden cheese knife. She uses the broken china to painfully carve the required cuts into her skin, then calls out to Andrew. He leaves her locked in all night, finally opening the door in the morning. As he steps in, talking to her like a sweet, twisted psychopath, Millie lunges and drives the cheese knife directly into his neck. She makes a run for it, but the massive man tackles her.
Fighting for her life, Millie bites his arm, punches him in the face, and sprints for the stairs. Andrew stalks her through the halls, but suddenly bumps into Nina, who has returned to the house. Bleeding and desperate, Andrew tries his classic manipulation on his wife, asking to start over. Nina just stares at him and calls him a monster. Enraged, Andrew lunges at her, but Millie charges up from behind and shoves him completely over the second-floor balcony. He violently hits the architecture on the way down, landing dead on the marble lobby floor. Without missing a beat, Nina grabs a ladder and drops a light bulb next to his body, staging the scene to look like a tragic handyman accident. Millie argues the cops will never buy it, but Nina orders her to flee. Millie leaves a piece of Andrew's knocked-out tooth on the floor and escapes, while Nina calls Enzo to help orchestrate the cleanup. When the authorities arrive, Nina gives an Oscar-worthy performance as the grieving widow. A detective points out the stab wound in Andrew's neck, noting that a simple fall wouldn't cause that. But here is the final epic twist. The investigating detective is actually Enzo's other sister, the sibling of the woman Andrew destroyed years ago. Knowing exactly what kind of monster Andrew was, the cop closes her notebook and officially rules the death a tragic accident. The next day at the funeral, Andrew's snobby mother complains about her son's missing tooth and critiques Nina's outfit. Millie quietly attends, and Nina gives her a massive, life-changing check to start fresh. Sometime later, we see Millie sitting down for a new job interview with another wealthy woman, handing over a glowing recommendation letter from Nina. When the new employer subtly hints that her husband is physically abusive, Millie looks her dead in the eye and promises that she is exactly the kind of maid who can fix her problem.